welcome to the Kashmir Truth, the show that presents the real picture of Jammu, Kashmir and Ladakh. The 31st of October 2019 is set to be a red letter day in the history of Jammu, Kashmir and Ladakh, as Lieutenant Governor of the new Union Territory of J&K and Lieutenant Governor of the other new Union Territory of Ladakh will be sworn in on that day, bringing about the reorganization that was envisaged along with the partial abrogation of Article 370. We will tell you about that and about a visit of a delegation of EU parliamentarians to Jammu and Kashmir, besides the condemnation pouring in against the terror attack on labour migrants in the valley on Tuesday. All that and more in today's edition of the Kashmir Truth. Well, let's now take a look at the hustle and bustle in the streets of Srinagar. You can see it on your screens. Vehicles, passenger cars, auto rickshaws can be seen plying on the roads of Srinagar. People are cycling, they're riding motorcycles, that can be seen as well. Cars parked in the streets, civilians and security personnel in uniform can be seen. There are crowded parts of Srinagar too. Cars and motorcycles are plying in the crowded areas. Traffic can be seen plying on the narrow roads as well as the wide roads of the city. So there you can see how traffic is moving on the streets, and the traffic is also moving past schools that have reopened since a long time now. Customer rush can be seen at the stalls outside the school. So it is traffic as usual and it is business as usual on the streets of Srinagar. These are visuals of the 30th of October, a day before the Red Letter Day, when the two union territories, one of J&K and the other of Ladakh, will be carved out. Well, most newspapers published from the Kashmir Valley this morning highlighted the terror attack on migrant labourers in Kashmir. Let's take a detailed look at them.
Most newspapers published from the valley have highlighted the news about the terrorist attack on labourers in Kashmir and about the security issues in Kashmir. Urdu daily Wadi Ki Awaz has carried the news about a meeting held by the Ministry of Home Affairs in Delhi, taking into account the security situation in Jammu and Kashmir. The meeting involved various officials from ITBP, CRPF, BSF and Jammu and Kashmir Police. The English daily Greater Kashmir has carried the news about 5 non-local labourers that were killed in a terror attack in Kulgam district of Jammu and Kashmir. English daily Kashmir Times has carried the news about the IS/IPS officers posted in Jammu and Kashmir to continue on their old roles after J&K and Ladakh become union territories. The daily has also carried the news about 65,000 students who appeared for their class 10th annual exams in Kashmir. Urdu daily Srinagar Mail has carried the news about the European Union visiting the valley to take a closer look at the situation. The Kashmir Reader has carried the news about 5 labourers who hailed from West Bengal being killed in a terror attack in Kulgam district of Jammu and Kashmir. Urdu daily Aftab has carried the news about the EU delegates visiting the Kashmir Valley and interacting with locals. The delegates also visited the Dal Lake.
History will be created on Thursday when Jammu and Kashmir, which has been part of the Union of India since 1947, will cease to be a state and will be bifurcated into 2 union territories. IS officers Girish Chandra Murmu and R.K. Mathur, who have been appointed the new Lieutenant Governors for the Union territories of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh respectively, will be sworn in at separate functions to be held in Srinagar and Leh on Thursday. Both Murmu and Mathur will be sworn in by Chief Justice of the J&K High Court Geeta Mittal. The total number of states in the country will now be 28, while the total number of UTs will go up to 7. The 2 UTs will come into existence on the day of the birth anniversary of the country's first Home Minister Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, who is credited for the merger of over 560 states into the Union of India. Ladakh particularly is gearing up for the historic moment in its modern history, considering the need for acclimatization in high-altitude Ladakh. The Lieutenant Governor of Ladakh designate R.K. Mathur and J&K High Court Chief Justice Geeta Mittal arrived in Leh on Wednesday. Arrangements for the swearing-in ceremony of Lieutenant Governor Radhakrishna Mathur are in full swing in Sindhu Sanskrit Kendra in Leh. R.K. Mathur will be administered the oath of office by Chief Justice Geeta Mittal in a ceremony on Thursday. The town is spruced up for the historic event of becoming a union territory that every Ladakhi had dreamt for over the last 70 years. Detailed rehearsals were conducted to make the ceremony a foolproof event on the 31st of October. Well, 23 European Union MPs who visited Jammu and Kashmir said on Wednesday that they regret the news of the killings of 5 migrant workers by terrorists and acknowledged that all problems of Kashmir are linked to terrorism. While addressing the media on Wednesday, the delegation said that they fully support India in its efforts for lasting peace and end of terror. Listen in.
5 innocent workers have been assassinated. And this situation is a global worry in our country, my country in France, but in all the countries here present, we have experimented what is terrorism, and particularly the radical Islamist terrorism. And we will have to check. We checked with the Indian Army Force, with the Indian police, what are the tools, the means to fight against this terrorism. So it's not an internal issue. We don't want to interfere in internal issues. And I just finished to say that I was particularly pleased during this visit, but yesterday we had the opportunity to meet some activists. I met some young activists from various communities from Kashmir, and they could express totally freely their vision of a future. And their vision of a future is vision of peace, vision of understanding in all the South Asian region. And I came back with a lot of hope, because I saw that there is among mainly the youth here in Kashmir big hope and big concern about the sad situation that they experiment, a big hope that the future will be better. And I think this is the message we are interested to hear.
Another EU parliamentarian, Bill NewtonDung, termed India as a peace-loving country and said that India has very good relations with European nations. Briefing the media, Dunn said that people of Kashmir have complained about the corruption and misuse of the money sent by the Centre for Developmental Works.
And India is a peaceful country that doesn't attack other countries. Where Europe and India have very strong, close links and great deal in common together. So we are here to find facts, to find out. We are your friends. We want to know, can we help? How can we support? How can we improve the situation? And that is the purpose for coming to find out. I was privileged to talk to quite a lot of people. There wasn't enough time. I talked to teachers. They were very interesting about their schools. And one man told me that there was too much corruption in India and Kashmir. Too much when money comes from central government, it doesn't always reach the project, or enough of it. It seems to disappear somewhere into the system. So nothing is perfect in life, but we're here to get facts and information, and it's been an excellent visit and very well organized. And thank you for being here.
Speaking to the media, EU Parliament's member Thierry Mariani said that the EU delegation spoke to people of Kashmir about the latest situation. He said the local residents expressed hope that now they will also get all the benefits like other Indian citizens.
We had a very interesting discussion yesterday afternoon with some responsible of civil society who was involved in association, who was involved in the normal life. And what was this message? Maybe it was the most interesting because it was from the heart. What these people said, they said, we just want to be Indian, we are Indian citizens, and we want to be Indian like all the other Indian citizens. We want to have a development like other parts of the country, and we hope that this change of status will be occasion for our region to be a better level of development, better level for my young to go to school, better level for my mother to go in hospital.
Addressing the media, Rizad Zarneki, who is a member of the European Parliament, said that during the visit he observed that people in J&K need jobs. He also said that people here want peace and more opportunities for them to excel.
So that people here want peace, want normal life, want education, want jobs, better competitiveness, and I'm sure after this conversation that terrorism destroy their dreams. And after our meeting with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Vice President of India and Foreign Minister. We know that also Indian government knows about it.
And tomorrow will mark a historic day for Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh, and here's why. Because the J&K Reorganization Act 2019 will come into effect. This is a legislation for reorganization of J&K that was passed after the decision was taken to partially abrogate Article 370. So this decision was also taken alongside that decision to partially abrogate Article 370. Let's take a look at some of the main provisions of this legislation. J&K to be a UT with legislature. So Jammu and Kashmir will now become a union territory with legislature, whereas Ladakh will be a union territory without legislature. So there will be two union territories, one with a legislature, one without a legislature. Ladakh UT to have Kargil and Leh districts. So administratively, this is how it's going to be. Ladakh will have two districts, one of Kargil and the other of Leh. And Ladakh, of course, becomes a UT for the first time. J&K UT to be administered by the Lieutenant Governor, and just like that, even Ladakh UT will be administered by the J&K. The only difference being that J&K will have an assembly, Ladakh won't have. So J&K UT2 will be administered by the LG, and both the Lieutenant Governors, the Lieutenant Governor of J&K and the Lieutenant Governor of Ladakh, will be sworn in tomorrow, the 31st of October, the birth anniversary of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. J&K UT to have a legislature, so the J&K Union Territory will be with a legislature, not without one. J&K UT legislature to have 107 seats. So this is the number of seats that will be there in the J&K UT legislature. J&K UT legislature to have a tenure of 5 years. You'd remember that currently elections take place every 6 years in the J&K state, but the tenure of the assembly of the J&K UT will be 5 years and not 6. J&K UT to have reserved seats for SC/ST communities. That was not the case so far, but now this reservation comes into effect. J&K's Legislative Council to be dissolved, so J&K will not have a Legislative Council, it will only have a legislature with 107 seats. The CM of J&K UT will have to apprise the Lieutenant Governor of all the cabinet decisions. This is quite similar to what we see in Delhi, where at least the subjects that are under the LG control, the CM has to report to him on. J&K High Court to continue to remain common for both union territories, so there will be one J&K High Court, as is the case now. Currently, this is the case for the whole state of J&K, but from tomorrow, this will be the case for the two different union territories. One single High Court, the Jammu and Kashmir High Court, for the two union territories. Girish Chandra Murmu has been appointed as the Lieutenant Governor of J&K Union Territory, and he will be taking the oath of office tomorrow. Radhakrishna Mathur has been appointed as the Lieutenant Governor of Ladakh UT. He too will be taking oath on the 31st of October. So this is about the J&K Reorganization Act 2019. Now let's take a look at the highlights of what the EU parliamentarians, some of whom you heard, had to say in that press conference. They said that we are not here to interfere in Indian politics. So that's a message going out to members of the opposition, the political opposition that is at the center, who had raised questions on the visit. They are saying that we are not here to do politics. Good to see the situation firsthand. They were actually here to see the situation firsthand and are quite happy that they got the opportunity for doing that. They also said that killings by terrorists last night is a terrible thing that should never happen. So a clear and equivocal message going out against acts of terrorism from the European delegation. If Middle East conflicts are resolved, then Kashmir could become the new place for terrorists. So they are actually pointing to the dangers that could lie ahead if the problem of terrorism or the challenge of terrorism is not addressed going forward. Don't want Kashmir to become a second Afghanistan. So these are basically warning signals that are coming in from the European delegation to members of the international community to sit up and take notice. It's already too late to take some concerted global action against terrorism. If terrorists are not finished, your problem could be our problem. So essentially they are saying that this is not about one particular country or the boundaries of one nation that has to do with this challenge of terrorism. This is a global problem. It has to be thus addressed by all the countries, by the entire international community. All problems in Kashmir are linked to terrorism. This is an extremely important statement because this means that the European parliamentarian delegation does believe in what India believes, that terrorism is the source of all the problem, and that is why whatever lack of development has happened has happened. Now, fighting terrorism is a precondition for improving quality of life. So basically, they are trying to put across the point that address the issue of terrorism, and that will address other problems as well. All countries need to work together to fight terrorism. So again, calling for a concerted global action against terrorism, the point that Prime Minister Narendra Modi had made to them when they had met them some time back. Terrorism is a global issue, which is what is India's point of view as well, that this is not a challenge that confronts just India or a couple of countries. This is a global challenge, and that majority of Western media are not good at checking facts before reporting. This is extremely important considering that there have been allegations of bias in various outlets which are international media outlets insofar as reporting on Kashmir is concerned, particularly since the partial abrogation of Article 370. International media coverage seems biased, so this is what the members of the European delegation had to say. They also said that once we go back to our countries, we will inform them of what we saw. So they are essentially saying that we are going to go back, tell our countries and the people there what the reality is in Kashmir so that they're not guided by the biased media outlets. Locals told us that they are Indian citizens and want to be like all Indian citizens. So this is the sentiment that was expressed to them by the locals in Jammu and Kashmir. They also say that they fully support India's efforts for lasting peace and end of terror. So basically support coming in from the European delegation to the government of India's efforts for lasting peace and to fight terrorism. Let's get some perspective on this. Joining us is Major General Katoch. I'll come to you, General Katoch. Welcome to the Kashmir Truth. Is it heartening that the European delegation is very much on the same page as India is on the root cause of all the problems in Kashmir, cross-border terrorism?
You see, I think it is a very wise decision that we have got these 28 members of the European Union to come and see the ground situation for themselves. Now, what happened post 5th August when the abrogation of Article 35A and provisions of 370 took place was that Pakistan, especially through their ISI, they went on a rampage across the world in spreading disinformation. They were hoping actually that there would be a total rebellion in the state and hundreds and thousands of people would actually die. Up to the disappointment of the Pakistanis, the state was peaceful. And the state was peaceful largely because the people, I think they have understood what is happening, what the Pakistanis were trying to do. But unfortunately, the international media, I think, got largely influenced by the Pakistani propaganda. And there were many people in foreign countries who were thinking that the situation has developed out of control, especially in the Kashmir division. Now, I think it is important, the best way to actually dispel rumors is to get people from there to come to the ground and say, okay, this is the ground, have a look. See for yourself what is happening, see the way traffic is functioning, see the way the telephones, the schools, the hospitals are functioning, and go and speak to the locals. And I think once we have heard the comments now of various members of the European Union, and it has become very, very clear that they have understood what the problem is. And essentially the problem is that there is cross-border terrorism sponsored by Pakistan. We have a few terrorist groups who are declining dramatically, whose influence is on the wane, and they are desperate to create a situation, but despite the best efforts they have not been able to do so, which really speaks, I would give full credit to the people of the state of Jammu and Kashmir, and from tomorrow the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir and the Union Territory of Ladakh, for maintaining peace, for reposing faith in the Constitution of India, and also to the security forces and to the government, the administrative apparatus, for conducting affairs in such a manner that since 5th August till date, not one shot has been fired by the security forces in anger against the people. So I think that is very, very creditable. If you notice, all the killings which have taken place have been done by the terrorists on the innocents. The killing which took place on the laborers, 5 laborers who had come from West Bengal. Now listen, they were the poorest of the poor in this country. They have come to eke out just daily wages, and they had no protection. Now, you know, labor are working all across the place, and the terrorists have taken them and targeted them, the weakest sections. Now, what does this indicate? It indicates that the terrorists have lost the plot. And I think now is the time when the entire public of J&K should roundly come up and criticize what has happened, and with the help of the security forces, I think the time has come to eliminate the very last terrorist which is there in the state.
Okay, General Katoch, would you say that this visit of the delegation of European parliamentarians will help combat the propaganda that Pakistan has been creating over the years, and particularly since the partial abrogation of Article 370? And will these parliamentarians spread the word to the people of their constituencies, to other members of the European Parliament and to the international community at large, that the problem really is cross-border terrorism, and whatever other issues are there relating to development and governance are actually byproducts of that problem, and that is also the rationale why Article 370 was partially abrogated.
Absolutely. So you see, this falls. One thing I'm quite certain now, post the visit, after this visit, when these parliamentarians go back, and believe you me, the EU Parliament is a very, very strong body. They are independent people, you see, and so let us not look into anything that these people can be manipulated or something. They cannot be manipulated. They have seen the situation on the ground for themselves. I think they are absolutely convinced of what they have seen, and they know what the problem is. So to that extent, I think the Pakistani propaganda is going to fall flat now from henceforth. I think we still need to put in a lot of effort as far as the international media is concerned. I think it may be a good idea to get some of those people also to see the ground situation for themselves. They should actually come to Ladakh, see what is happening there, come to the Jammu division, come to Kashmir. And I think they are in for a very, very pleasant surprise, because the way normalcy has come to the state is absolutely unbelievable. But ultimately, there is the one aspect which we still need to concentrate on and focus our attention on, is that the last gun has not been eliminated. So I think that focus has to continue in the Kashmir division. That is largely a product of what the security forces will do. They have done a tremendous job so far. Especially, I have had interaction with many people who have gone there, and one of the things they tell me is that the conduct of the Indian Army in that particular area, in wherever they are deployed, has been par excellence. You see, they have actually got the trust of the population, and they always had the trust, but now was a very critical period, these 3 months. And the 3 months, that trust has not eroded. All that has happened is that trust has built up many, many times more. So I think we are looking at a stage by which within, I think, the developmental process is going to start on a very, very quick footing.
So we are actually looking at a time in our political history wherein Jammu and Kashmir will be one union territory and Ladakh will be another union territory, and that reorganization comes into effect in practice tomorrow, the 31st of October, the birth anniversary of Sardar Patel. So can we now expect landmark changes in terms of governance in Jammu, Kashmir and Ladakh?
Yes, I just want to explain this in a little bit. You see, what had happened earlier was this entire administration was concentrated in Kashmir, and the focus was on Kashmir. So we got two regions which got neglected. The Jammu division got neglected, and the Ladakh region got neglected. Now, any visitor cursorily, if you just went, I have visited Ladakh quite a few times, and in a cursory visit, there was that angst amongst those people, listen, we are being ignored. Now it is a separate area. We have got two districts there, Ladakh and Kargil, and you will see the focus of development is actually going to go down to the ground level. So you are going to see a tremendous transformation which is going to take place in this particular area, and the transformation is going to go right down to the remotest village. I think that is a very, very positive development.
And once development reaches the grassroots, we'll see more development, we'll see more jobs being created. The General Katoch, it's all the time that we have for this, but I'm sure there'll be many more opportunities to discuss this.
Absolutely. You see, now with tourism coming into Ladakh, you will find the guest houses coming up, the locals coming up, the transport business starting. It is a complete ecosystem in itself. And I presume because the administration is now going to be very focused, the eco-friendly aspects of tourism, I presume, will be kept in mind, because it is a very delicate area.
So various sectors of Jammu, Kashmir and Ladakh will hence get a push. Well, thank you, General Katoch, for having joined us on the Kashmir Truth.
Thank you.
Well, a look at some more J&K related developments. Union Minister V.K. Singh said on Wednesday that Pakistan occupied Kashmir is a part of India and New Delhi will get control over it. The Union Minister also dubbed the criticism of the government by the opposition over the EU delegation's visit to Kashmir as insignificant. V.K. Singh's remarks come a week after Union Minister Jitendra Singh said that the day is not far off when it will be possible to unfurl the Indian tricolour in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. Around 65,000 students in Kashmir appeared for the Class 10th annual board examination on Tuesday. The start of the board examinations, as far as Class 10th is concerned, 99% of the students appeared in the exams. J&K Board of School Education had set up 615 centres across Kashmir for the exams. The Class 12th examinations for students appearing for J&K Board began on Wednesday. These are some more signs of normalcy, with parents, students and local administration joining hands to ensure smooth examinations.
मैं तो अभी निकला हूं और कई सेंटरों का मैंने दौरा किया और मेरे साथ अपने डिप्टी सीओ बारामूला भी साथ थे और हमने ये पाया कि बच्चे बहुत खुश हैं और बिल्कुल इत्मीनान से वो एग्ज़ाम दे रहे हैं और पेपर वगैरह जो भी हैं वो भी विद इन द सिलेबस है और उसे भी कोई आउट नहीं है। यहाँ पर 2-3 स्कूलों के बच्चे आते हैं और बिल्कुल मुतमईन है। मेरा स्टाफ भी बड़ा विजिलेंट है और बच्चे भी बहुत अच्छी तरीके से अपना एग्ज़ाम दे रहे हैं। मुझे उम्मीद है कि इंशाल्लाह वो अच्छी तरह से इस एग्ज़ाम को क्वालिफाई कर लेंगे।
Well, around 5 labourers were killed and another was injured in a terror attack in Jammu and Kashmir's Kulgam district on Tuesday. All of them were from West Bengal. The incident came a day after terrorists shot a truck driver in Anantnag district and targeted people waiting at a bus stand in Sopore. The labourer injured in the terror attack in South Kashmir's Kulgam district, in which 5 persons were killed, is recovering from his injuries at a Srinagar hospital. Well, that's it there in this edition of the Kashmir Truth. Thanks for watching.